So in this video, we are going to let you know exactly what's happening in North County, San Diego, specifically Solana Beach. It is a completely different market than, well, every city is a completely different market, but they are all super unique. Solana Beach is kind of a tale of two different markets. You have kind of a very big share of the condos. So we'll get into kind of what's happening in that market, all those oceanfront ones, plus kind of going back, there seems to be a lot more density of condos in Solana Beach compared to other cities right here in North County, San Diego. And then also the detached homes, which there's a few different markets even within that. You kind of have the entry level Solana Beach, and then you have kind of that high end west of the 5 Solana Beach where all those price points are. So we're going to get into it today, let you know exactly what's happening in your neck of the woods. And if we don't cover your exact spot, just drop us a comment. We'll get to it. So we make these videos every single week. I'm Chris Erickson, and we're with the sage of San Diego, the soul of stats, Mr. Loren Sanders. We're going to break into all the numbers and let you know exactly what's going on.
I hail from Solana Beach.
Well, there you go.
Well, I wasn't born there actually, but most of my life went to school, grade school, middle school, and high school.
Yeah. Yep. So, and you've been in real estate for the past. Yes, you've been in real estate as well for the past little bit, so you're pretty aware of how that market's going as well. And we're both with
decade. Think about that.
4th decade. There you go.
Yay.
We're both. We're with the Beach Life Group right here in North County, San Diego. We love making these videos for you, let you know exactly what's going on. But we're also, like I said, real estate agents here in North County, San Diego. So if you guys want some info, want to start a conversation, anything like that, hit us up, call, text, email. We got your back when making the move here in and around North County. So let's jump into the slides and get behind the numbers. So let me pop this one up real quick and just, like I said, Solana Beach, you got the houses. This is the house from west of the 5, and then the condos. If you go down that secret little entrance that not many people know about in Solana Beach, you get some beautiful condos. But up and down that whole coast, there's a ton of condos. So here's kind of, if you are a seller, keep eye on this. Is from Altos Research. They do this market action index. And it's a very good visual representation of what's happening month over month. And you can kind of see it is basically an indication of supply and demand, how many houses are out there, how many people are looking for houses, and gives you just a really good snapshot of what's happening. So you can kind of see in the past few months, even last month, everything has trended down a little bit. That top line is showing you where we're currently at. The bottom line is obviously it says last month. The top number here is detached homes, and the bottom is attached homes. So, Loren, want to expand on that a little bit?
Well, the market, actually, some of the things we look at segments the market in 4s, so 25% segments. And top segment is actually the weakest right now, and the bottom segment is the strongest. Where the top segment of the market is actually right at a buyer's market, where that 30 number comes in. Once you go below that, that's going into a buyer's market. So anyway, that's interesting to see. And the strongest is the lower end of the market, which for detached homes is around a couple $1 million. There's a couple houses right now right under that. And those tend to be a number of those end up being like in San Diego Hills, which is just east of the freeway, a tract that was built in the 70s, and Santa Fe Hills. In those areas, there was really nice one story that went on right around a little over 2 million that went pretty quick. It was 1,600 square feet. So that's kind of what you get in that realm there. But and then there's some really nice big houses on the ocean, couple over 10 million. So that's one thing about running Solana Beach and the numbers and kind of looking and deciphering, which we do, what's going on is, since it is a smaller market, there's not a ton of houses in, selling every month. So, or every few months. So the numbers can get a little skewed, like that 98 days on market for that 10 million plus point is probably only a few homes. I know there was one for 14 million, and then there was maybe a few more over that 10, but those just tend to sit a little bit longer. And then that 2.5 and under, that 3-day market time, that's like Loren said, that Santa Fe Hills, kind of the starter homes, even though they are that $2 million price point in Solana Beach. That's kind of like where you're getting in, unless you start looking at some of the condo options as well. So
The next story
there's not a ton of houses that are going to sell for over 10 million in Solana Beach. They would be oceanfront. I think the last one that's actually closed that was over 10. There's only been one, I think, in 14, right around 15 million, but it had a double lot, so that was a nice house.
Yeah, I did see one just pop up actually west of the 5 for $2 million, and it was under 1,000 square foot house. But that is kind of like a very rarity. And that's one thing about Solana Beach for any sellers out there is, you know, if you're in the condos, if you're in kind of the tract neighborhoods, it's much easier to price a home because you have very similar comps, very similar homes that have sold. Whereas once you get into kind of the more custom homes or even land, or even people, you know, a scrape where people buy the property, get rid of the house. We were showing some properties up there the other day and people were looking in a certain price point. And this house had recently sold, but there was no house there. It was just a dirt lot, and it had sold for $2.5 million, kind of just west of the 5, up on top of the hill there. So you got some good views and stuff up there as well. But yeah, it's just once you get into there, it's very, you know, it takes on a lot more of a science as opposed to just kind of those tract neighborhoods. So for sure,
you know, you got to look at what's actually available at the time you're on too. That's a big factor in. I know Paul has one that's basically a remodel candidate that's in the 2.4 range, west of 5, but you know, just east of kind of the Cedros area. And I don't know if it's actually going to come on or if the guy's going to do it himself now. At this point, it's kind of an interesting thing because it takes some time too. The other thing in Solana Beach, if you're buying a scraper and redoing it, it's going to take some time to get a home built. So
kind of all those coastal regions. This is what we're showing right now. We'll show this one, and then we'll show this is for detached homes rather in Solana Beach. The next one will be for attached, and it's just setting your expectation as a seller, which we kind of like to guide our sellers through and make sure they know what's going on in the market. It's not the same market we had a few months ago where you could price it pretty much anywhere you wanted. I mean, not within reason, and you were going to get some looks, you were going to get some offers, you were going to get potentially sold at that higher price when the market was screaming hot. Right now, it has slowed down significantly, kind of across the board all around North County, San Diego. But you can just see this is the amount of price decreases. If you look on the far right of the chart, you can see those creeping up in all 4 brackets. Well, it ranges from, you know, that 23% all the way up to almost 60% in that lower. So it just kind of divides it into 4 different sections that we were just looking at earlier. But you could see just expectation wise, market has been slowing a little bit. So as always, pricing is crazy important, even more so right now.
Right. Very true.
And then even it's even more dramatic here. This is the detached or the attached homes rather in Solana Beach. So you can see that top 90-day tier. That's like the most expensive condos in Solana Beach. About near 60% of them have had price reductions. So you can see it's just it is a different market, and that's kind of what we stay on top of. I mean, we're looking at all these numbers. This graph looks super confusing, but it is telling a story. So if you want more in depth, just definitely hit us up, reach out, hit us a comment, any of that. So
that's a month supply of inventory right here for this is actually the most forward looking we have. So this is basing it on what's closed and also pending. It brings pendings in to kind of forecast where we're at. So Solana's up at 2.7 months. And then there's some comparison. Coastal North County is basically Del Mar to Carlsbad on the coastal market. And then San Diego County is the whole. So we're at a little over 1.5 months supply in San Diego as a whole. So we're up above that. We're always, Solana Beach, Del Mar, Rancho Santa Fe are always, Solana actually got down to like below a month supply earlier in the year, which was, that made the market really, really crazy. But it typically is, this isn't a high number necessarily for Solana Beach, but it's definitely much higher than it was in February, March.
Yeah. And the story there too, there's actually less listings, less homes going up for sale, but they're sitting a little longer. So it's adding to the homes that are on the market. So as one comes on, one doesn't come off, you know, let's say 2 come on, 1 comes off, 2 come on, 1 come off, that kind of thing. So that's what we're seeing. That's why we're seeing this increase, not necessarily in the number of homes for sale every month, but the total number as they accumulate, that number is kind of rising. So once again, coming down to price, preparation, promotion. the kind of things we preach. Here's just another look at that, where it was back in January. You can see the pretty, not directly straight up, but pretty steep graph there. So compared to January to the far right, and that's kind of where we're sitting today. So
yeah, well, that tells the story better than I did. But yeah, I mean, it feels dramatic. It is on a percentage basis. If you would read a story about it, it would sound dramatic, and it is. You know, there's definitely buyers are getting it's moving to a buyer's market with interest rates the way they're trending back this past month, actually less than a month, the last week or two, they've got back up above 6, about 6.25 for a 30-year fixed conventional, which, you know, if history tells us anything, that's going to continue the market's going to slow. The number of sales is going to slow a little bit more, probably.
Yeah. And real quick on that point too. So just in the last 3 months, once again, as far as detached, or no, it's actually all the homes sold in Solana Beach, which I was saying, it's a smaller market. There was 32 homes sold in the last 3 months. Of those, nearly 48% were cash. So if interest rates do continue to go up, we may see some more cash going in there as far as offer wise, but the higher the cash percentage, you know, the less effect it will potentially have for those kind of buyers. Whereas you get into some of the other areas of North County, San Diego, where the price point's a little more affordable. It's more of those first time homes kind of thing. A lot more conventional homes and stuff where, you know, some of these higher price, we do see a bit of cash. So,
yeah. Well, inland's always hit. I mean, you know, inland is hit on a percentage basis much higher because it's a more normal situation where somebody's getting a loan, where FHA and VA loans are going to. They're probably the most critically hit, affecting buyers right now. Yeah. But Solana Beach, like you said, high number of cash buyers. Oh, actually, Del Mar, Solana Beach, Rancho Santa Fe, all of those areas. You know, there's a lot of cash, so there's a little less impact.
Yeah, there still will be across the board as always, but and this is just showing once again expectation wise, when a few months ago we were getting, or sellers were getting a lot closer to that 100%, if not over 100% of their asking price. This is kind of where from the original asking price, which is a better gauge of numbers. Sometimes you might see this number of the current list price, and it might be a little bit higher. But what we're seeing is what we mentioned earlier, those price reductions. So this takes the gauge from the actual original number. If it started at 3 million, then it would, you know, $100,000 price reduction and then $100,000 price reduction. So it starts at that 3 million number and goes down. So 94.3% right now in Solana Beach is the average of what people are getting for their home. So it's kind of right on par with a lot of the rest of the North County and, you know, coastal and the county of San Diego as well. So
back towards a norm as well.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look past the past 10 years leading up to before COVID, that was kind of a normal, normal situation. This 110, 105, 107% over listed sale price was an anomaly, obviously due to the super low interest rates, but super low inventory as well, kind of. So we may see it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out the rest of the year, because rates definitely back up to the highs of the year at this point as we speak today.
Yeah.
And I just remember 2018 when rates went up over 5, the market slowed and then they drifted back down. So it'll be, I'm curious to see how long rates stay at this heightened level.
Yep, it'll be well, the Fed doesn't directly control rates, kind of what they're doing. I mean, I guess last time they raised the interest rate, it did affect mortgage rates, but the mortgage rates actually dropped, quite a bit in that time. So who knows which way it's going to go? We'll see in September towards the end of the year where they go. If they do pivot, it's going to definitely, keep eye on all that kind of stuff. Let us keep eye on it for you as well. So like I said, if you guys have questions, reach out. Loren, for sellers, what's the number one thing we could offer them for a piece of advice? Leave them with a little nugget.
I think the best thing to do if you are going to sell is make sure your house looks tip-top shape, and so somebody can just walk into it. The ones that we have a bigger challenge selling are ones that need some work. So if that's available to do that, then and do that and make them easy to show too.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
There's less buyers, I should say, but more different time constraints because it's different now. We used to have an open house on the weekend.
Yeah,
you didn't have to set up a bunch of different showings. So
yeah.
Anyway, I see you got company.
I do. So I'm going to sign off. But if you guys need anything else, definitely hit up our channel. We got a ton of other videos where we go through this stuff every single week. So be sure to check out the next video popping up and hit us up if you guys are thinking of selling and want to start that conversation. We got your back.
We're here to help. Yeah.